Ako si Ison Jean Boyayo. My father is Alfonso Ricardo Boyayo, may dugong Ifugao. Si Pops ay a man of few words, pero pag magsalita siya ay puno ng wisdom. Si Pops din ay nakakatawang tao at higit sa lahat, mapagkumbaba. Pops loved the nature very much, that I do think he has a special connection to it. Kahit ganun ang pagkakakilala ko sa kanya, meron pa ding parte sa puso ko na hindi siya kilala. My relationship with Pops is, I feel like it's a very quiet one. I remember him most in like quiet moments. When we were kids, both of our parents were often away from home, sometimes for a week at a time because of work. During those times, ibang tao yung nag-aalaga sa amin. Even when my father was home, our conversations were never really deep. He would talk to us, joke around, or bond with us in simple ways. But me and him never reached a level where I truly got to know him. Everything he shared stayed on the surface. Pops had many jobs throughout his life. He worked as a driver when we lived in Baguio, and he also bought and sold cars, one of the reasons why he was always away. He also ran a small printing business. But these jobs were all on and off. He never really had a stable income. Most of the time, it was my mom who supported us financially through her work at the church. Despite all the different jobs, one thing stayed constant in my father's life: his faith. He was a missionary and very active in church, which is actually where my parents first met. Faith shaped much of who he was, and church was always at the center of our family's life. After many years of saving, along with support from my mom, my father was able to buy a piece of land in Binayoyo. Slowly, he started building what he called his dream home. When the pandemic happened, he stayed there. He became close to his neighbors. He spent time sharing God's word, and because of his kindness, people learned to love and respect him. Around 2015, my father was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. Then around 2021, he had 2 operations to remove the lumps around his throat para hindi na kumalat. By that time, confirmed na may cancer siya. By early 2023, he started radiation therapy. Tuloy-tuloy yun until his condition eventually declined and he passed away noong November 2023. During those tough times, we were thankful dahil maraming tumutulong sa kanya. Relatives, friends, and especially people from the church. They were very present throughout his treatment. He left such a good impression on people around him that everyone opened their hearts when he was the one calling for help. One time, nagka-misunderstanding yung parents ko noon. Gustong-gusto niya nang umuwi sa Antipolo noon. Umiyak ako noon kasi grabe yung hatred ko sa kanya noon, na parang inisip ko pa noon na ano ba yan, parang sarili mo lang yung iniisip mo na gusto mo pa umuwi sa Antipolo nun. Alam mo na, nandito na yung family mo dito sa Quezon City. Nung time na yun, di ko inisip na in pain na siya nun.
Para hindi mag-worry si moms.
My parents, their relationship wasn't perfect. There were strains, especially when it came to money. The same challenges followed when my father moved to Antipolo. But even then, my mom understood why he stayed there. She knew he felt at peace in that place. Siguro yung hindi ko lang maintindihan is bakit naging hanggang dito lang yung pagkakilala ko sa kanya. Dapat ba nag-reach out ako more or naging curious ako more? But then, I feel like may parts din na dapat maging open ka din as a father for your child to know more about you. As a daughter din, I should have been more understanding. But instead, parang sa last days niya is mas naging selfish ako. And yun yung pinaka, like, regret ko talaga. And it's like, now, nare-realize ko na ngayon lang ako nakashow ng appreciation towards him. Ngayon wala na siya.
Nandito tayo sa Sitio Binayoyo, Antipolo. This is where he built his home and spent the last few years of his life.
I do feel na he never left. I feel grateful pa din na he left a lot of things na to remind us of him. I really feel na nandito pa din siya.
Maraming nakakakilala at nagmamahal sa kanya dito. Matulungin kasi siya at kung may maibibigay siya o maitutulong, ginagawa niya. Yung pagiging matulungin ni Paps, hindi lang nagsimula nung lumipat siya sa Antipolo. My grandparents used to welcome students who had nowhere to stay, letting them live in their home while they studied. That value of opening your door was deeply rooted in my father long before Antipolo. His kindness wasn't random, it was inherited. Isa sa mga unang encounters niya was with Ate Jov na parang naging anak-anakan niya na. Si Ate Jov worked closely sa barangay, so whenever Pops has an idea for an event like food feeding program, kaagapay niya si Ate Jov. At nagkaroon sila ng support from the barangay and even sa church. Para sa kanya, normal lang tumulong kasi ganun yung form ng faith niya. In the end, I realized Binayoyo wasn't him choosing to be far from us. It was him returning to who he truly was. Now thinking about it, he chose this place because it was close to nature and reminded him of his Ifugao roots. In some ways, I think he was also trying to make most of his life before it was taken to him. I realized that my father's personality wasn't just something unique to him. It was shaped by the culture he grew up with, the way he acted, the way he saw the world, even the way he worked with his hands. Everything that makes him who he was, all of it came from his Ifugao upbringing. One thing I learned from my journey ay dapat talagang damdamin mo every feeling of sadness, happiness, regret, or even anger. Embracing these emotions is the only way we can be free. When this journey started, my goal was to understand my father, to make sense of the choices he made and the life he lived. Through the old photos and interviews and returning to Antipolo, I learned more about him than I ever knew while he was alive. And in the process, I realized that grieving isn't only about loss. It is also about learning, listening, and rediscovering. This journey didn't end the grief, but it helped transform it into something I can live with.